Welcome to the Grace for the Unlovable podcast, where you can share your story judgment-free. We are here to guide you down the road to redemption and restoration. Remember, healing comes when secrets are shared in safe spaces. Now, here are your hosts, Anthony and Melissa.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Grace for the Unlovable podcast. I am your host, Anthony.
Hello, I'm your co-host, Melissa.
We are glad that you are here. Tonight's episode will be one that's a little different.
I know.
It's a letter, actually an email like we haven't had before. So I think a lot of times we get focused on just the secrets part of it, but it's also just for anybody who feels unlovable. And I would say we need to really focus on that in terms of people that their secret is out and there's no hiding from it, right? So we will get to that in just a second. Just a reminder, please check out our other podcast entitled The Struggle Series. That podcast is a podcast designed to basically hear all of my scary stories, right? They're horror novels slash detective novels slash thrillers slash you're never going to guess the ending type stories. There's a whole bunch of back catalog there that you could find, as well as we are in the middle of our new novel entitled Friend. So please check that out every other Thursday at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Before we get to tonight's episode, let's hit you with a quick disclaimer. Although I practiced as a licensed therapist and an ordained minister, this podcast is not a substitute for clinical advice. This is not therapy. This podcast is for prayer and emotional support only. If you feel like you're going to harm yourself or others, please call 911 or reach out by text or phone to 988. This podcast is anonymous for a reason. We're not here to judge you or incriminate you. Please keep the names of anybody you've harmed out of your story. Oh, and if you're not remorseful, you're not ready for this podcast. Just reach out to us at a different time when you're ready to make some changes. Now, let's get ready for this episode of the Grace for the Unlovable podcast. So again, let's just kind of talk a little bit about what we do for those people that have kind of stumbled upon this and they're like, what is this? And maybe your friend has come along and said, you should check out this podcast. Because, yeah, we definitely want you to. But I think a lot of it's kind of sold because we've had people tell us this, that, oh, we want to tune in and see what's the next crazy story, which I'm fine with, except for there's a reason we're hearing these stories and we want to help the people that are telling the stories. So again, we don't want this just to be for people that have a secret they haven't shared. It is for everybody who has either been deemed unlovable by society or just in and of themselves feels unlovable. And examples would be like somebody who had an affair that went public and like that divides families, right? So there might be some part of the family that forgives you and is cool with you. And then there's another part of the family that has turned their back on you and it's awkward at Christmas and stuff like that. And you just want to talk about that. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
And so it's also not for just for those who have done something themselves. Sometimes that shame comes from what people did to you, as we've learned in the last week or so, about just what happens when somebody's sin or somebody's behavior done towards you can loop you into their shame and guilt and their, you know, just the overall unlovableness of something like what they did to you. And so we just want you to kind of look at this podcast as a place where you could talk about subjects that probably you don't have another place to talk about, right? There's like a taboo a lot of times for us to really tell the truth, right? And if we're honest, like where could you go and just tell like the blatant truth about yourself in a way that wouldn't freak people out? It's almost like society has said there's an acceptable level of disclosure and then you're
Mhm.
supposed to just shut your mouth and keep that inside
Mhm.
because you make people uncomfortable or whatever. I actually find it refreshing when somebody is just like brutally honest about
Uh-huh.
themselves, but I know I'm the weirdo, right?
Right.
And I, from what's happened to me through my sinful behaviors that led me down a path of being unlovable, at least in the eyes of people as well as in myself. But then I've turned that around and have worked with people, and they have this ability to like not tell the truth. I've said this
Mhm.
before, Melissa, but as a therapist, people would come in and pay me exorbitant amounts of
Uh-huh.
money and just lie to me.
Mhm.
Like, you're not being forced to come here. You called and made an appointment. And then I'm asking you what's going on in your life. And they start trying to paint like this pretty picture of themselves. And I have to tell them, like, hey, listen, nobody pays me hundreds of dollars an hour to
Mhm.
tell me how great their life is. Why are you really here?
Mhm.
And I've always equated it to this, like I'm a PhD, but I'm not a medical doctor. But like a medical doctor, that would be the equivalent of going to your medical doctor and say, I made an appointment because, I'm having a little headache. And the doctor says, well, what about your arm that's hanging by a thread? Like it's not even attached to your elbow anymore.
Anymore. Mhm.
Like, what about that? And that's what happens a lot of times, like in therapy, is I can see there's something else going on. And so there's like always this thin line of like, when do you confront somebody and when do you let
Mhm.
them have the time and have the patience with them to where they can trust you enough
Mhm.
to tell you? And so if that's true in a therapy setting where
Mhm.
it's confidential and there's legalities of what I can say and what I can't say, imagine what it's like to tell a friend or a family
Mhm.
member or
Yeah,
a husband or a
exactly.
child.
Yeah.
And so we've had stories of like, people being adopted and not knowing,
Knowing.
and
Mhm.
that, and children not being the biological
The
children
father.
of the father that they think they have. Or so we've had different stories like that. But regardless, we want this just to be that place that is safe. It's
Mhm.
anonymous.
Mhm.
If you choose to call in and want to do an interview with us, we'll change your voice, we'll change your name, we'll change the details. We'll
Mhm.
do whatever we can to make you anonymous. Um, I did hear from somebody the other day that said, um, I told everybody about this new podcast. Now I can't tell my story because they're all listening.
Remember we were saying, like,
Yeah.
people may not subscribe or because they don't want it to
Yeah.
be
So we're like, share this podcast, but
Look.
people are like, I don't want to share it because then I
No.
can't tell my story because everybody's going to recognize me. And I challenge that person to say, I'll bet
Mhm.
you we could change enough of your voice and your details, um, to where they would know it was you.
Mhm.
And
'Cause we did that on the Deliverance Project, so it's very easy.
yeah, it's not hard to do,
Mhm.
but trust us a little bit. So
Mhm.
she's thinking about it. She's probably going to write it in
Mhm.
and then let us kind of look at it, and then we can do some feedback. I just hope she doesn't kind of chicken out because I
Mhm.
really feel like she needs to get it out. But I understand the burden, right? You told everybody, oh, check out this new podcast. And then halfway through this podcast, you're like, maybe I need to tell my
Story.
story.
Mhm.
And then now I can't because, my mom and my sisters and my best friend are watching that or listening. So just know that this is that place. Now,
Mhm.
tonight's letter is a little bit different. And
Mhm.
I say that because it's not really a letter, it's an email. And it kind of breaks my heart a little bit because I can hear the anger.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
cool with it.
Mhm.
I'm not, I would rather you write in being a little bit angry than to hold back or not write in at all.
Mhm.
So I want to, before I jump to the email, I want to kind of just talk to the non-Christians who are listening.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
I can never apologize, and Melissa can never apologize that we are Christian.
Mhm.
Our entire belief system is based on Christian values, right?
Mhm.
I believe in the Bible. A lot of people challenge me every week that I don't believe in the Bible because I push grace and don't confront people on their sins and berate them and belittle them like they think I should.
Right. No.
But on the same token, you're all welcome here.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to feel like you might have to tolerate my beliefs a little bit and Melissa's beliefs on what Jesus would kind of want you to do. But on the same token, I'm going to do my best not to beat you over the head with the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a little example. I was watching this little snippet, this little video of this kind of semi well known preacher, and he is just bashing all of the online preachers. And he's like, if you listen to so and so, their doctrine's taking you straight to hell. If you listen to this lady, your doctrine's going to go take you straight to hell. If you're listening to this, you need to get into a church. And all I could hear him say was, I'm the only one that knows what the true gospel is. And you're following all of these charlatans.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can't disagree that there are false teachers out there.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy's red-faced, he's yelling, he's gritting his teeth, and I'm just sitting there going, who the heck likes this? Like who wants to be talked to this way?
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm the guy that if I was sitting in the church would have to like sit on my hands so I don't raise them and go, who the hell do you think you are, dude?
Mm-hmm. I know, right?
You may not like the doctrine of said televangelist or television preacher, or you may think he doesn't preach the gospel enough, or you may think he's pushing too much grace or whatever, but like your church of maybe religious zealots like you,
Mm-hmm.
but you are never going to win over somebody who doesn't know God.
Especially would want to come to your church.
Yeah,
You
like,
wouldn't feel welcome.
Like, what are you going to yell at me if I'm a sinner? So if you're a
Yeah.
non-Christian, I hate that just as much as you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not somebody who like gets a video and then like starts making comments on it. We get that all the
gosh.
time. We get, I've seen the most vulgar anti-Christ demonic stuff sent to us. And then I've seen the opposite end, which is
Mhm.
Christians telling me how I need to read my Bible. And it's like, first of all, I saw your profile. You're 9 years old. I've been studying the Bible for decades and decades. I might know a little bit. You may not agree with the doctrine I have, but
Mhm.
like let's not go down
Be
the path of like
respectful. Yeah.
you're exponentially smarter than me,
Mhm.
because none of us have it figured out, right? So if you're a non-Christian, all I want to do is tell you, like, we're not going to apologize for our beliefs, but you're welcome here because
Mhm.
there's not going to be religion here. I've always said this phrase, and I want everybody to really hear it. The devil, if there's a Satan, he doesn't hate religion. He hates Jesus.
Mhm.
I will go as far as to say the devil has created all of these religions, including this extremely zealous, nasty, mean Christianity.
Mhm.
Those are his making.
Yeah. Yep.
And I won't
I've
pick
heard
on
that one.
certain preachers or others because I don't believe in that, but or at least name them. But because then I'm the Pharisee to the Pharisees, right?
Mhm.
Because that when I was listening to that guy scream and yell, I'm like, you're a Pharisee.
Mhm.
What parts of the Bible do you read when Jesus was kind and gentle to people and loved on them? All he hears is the part where Jesus says, go and sin no more. He didn't hear the other 5 million sentences where Jesus said,
Right.
I forgive you. I love you. I'm going to go on a tangent here, right?
Okay.
There's a story in the Bible of this lady. They say she has an issue of blood.
Mhm.
And she's been struggling for like 14 years. And forgive me, Christians, I don't remember the exact number of years. It's a long time.
Mhm.
And she goes and like she has to get to Jesus, and she touches him, and he says, you're healed. And like I've had, because the grace people will debate the religious people. Like, this woman wasn't supposed to touch Jesus, right?
Mhm.
Because she's unclean. And people don't realize what that means in the Bible. The Bible says that if a woman has blood, like in her period,
Mhm.
she's got to disappear for like 7 days. And then she has to cleanse herself before she can come back in the house,
Mhm.
because blood was considered impure.
Mhm.
So You can really go down a rabbit hole as to why the Bible says that stuff. That's not for today's conversation, but that was a truth. So a woman who had an issue of blood could not be in the temple. She could not be at religious services, if you will, or church before they called it church. She couldn't hear the word of God. She couldn't hear the teachings because she had this issue. So she claws her way to Jesus and he forgives her. And what people don't understand is she wasn't just cured of the issue of blood. She was cured of the isolation.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Think about that. She couldn't be around people.
Oh, wow.
And then all of a sudden,
Yikes.
she's healed. She's forgiven. Jesus didn't say, "Why did you touch me, ho?" He said, "You're forgiven. You're healed. You're good." He released her from that burden. And so when you see these religious people arguing back and forth, well, Jesus didn't mean that and Jesus mean, they don't even get the point of that story is Jesus bypassed what the religion said and set her free, not only from the physical ailment, but the isolation. And so when a religious person doesn't understand, like she was hurting emotionally, you isolate yourself for 14 years.
Yeah.
And please forgive me if that's not the right amount of years. I think that's right. But you, and then you have somebody religious tell you that you have to go get this fixed before you can come to church. You would claw your way just to say hi to somebody. And so I know that's a tangent, but non-Christians, listen, I'm the person that sees past all this religion. And that's an arrogant statement. So let me clarify as best I can. I was raised in it. I was ordained in it. So I still have relapses into it. I don't ever want to be a Pharisee to the Pharisees, which means, I hate all the Pharisees. So now I'm judging them like they were judging the other people. And I struggle with that quite a bit, but I just hate religion. And so if you'll stay tuned with us, you'll understand that this is not a religious podcast. I even get mad when I have to put it on like Rumble or YouTube or classify it on on Spotify or whatever. That where do we find this faith and religion? I hate it. I wish it just said faith because I hate the word religion. I hate it because religion damaged me as a child and damaged me as an adult. And so, and I've said this before, but I have a friend of mine that wrote a book called I Had to Stop Being a Christian So I Could Follow Jesus. And
wow, it's a great title.
I like that. And it's shocking. It's controversial, but it makes sense if you understand what I'm saying. All that to say, just stick around because this person that wrote in is a person that is struggling, but is kind of, I think, worried about the religious parts.
Right.
So let's like, kind of, so let's kind of see what
you're going to be gentle,
what he has to say here. So I'm not going to give you my name, but I recently found your podcast. I don't even remember what I searched to find it, but I have listened to every episode so far. I'm going to pause right here real quick. I often wondered maybe we should search like different things and see how this pops up, because it might help us to kind of reach out to the right people. So I'm just making like a mental note because what he's saying is true. Like, I don't remember what I searched to find it. So did you search like what keywords made us pop up? Yeah. I'm very curious to that. But he says, I've listened to every episode so far. I'm somebody that carries a bunch of pain because of something I did. A lot of people would consider me unlovable, and I definitely don't have any love for myself. So I guess that makes me a candidate for your show. And God, that hurts my heart. I mean, it does make you a candidate for the show, but I mean, in my world, we wouldn't have this show, right? But because this stuff exists, we are here. So appreciate the honesty there. And I've felt that way before.
That's how he felt. Yeah.
He says, I have to be honest. I don't believe in all that Christian shit you talk about. And I love it. I mean, I know some Christians would be offended by that, but I'm not.
And I think it's hard to say that you feel unlovable by other people and unlovable towards yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's hard to, don't you think?
Yeah, it's brutal. It's a brutal
thank him
thing
for like to able to say that.
Yeah, and
to get to the point where he's at.
And I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I was saying, going into the next sentence, I don't believe in all that Christian shit you talk about. And I think I know what he's saying anyway. It's like, I don't want those typical Christian answers. And if you happen to be a minister or a Christian, person, please hear my heart in this. Cause
Exactly.
I know
Yeah.
I'm always
Mhm.
adversarial,
Mm-hmm.
but like, hear this man, like what a non-Christian or what I call a non-believer, and they even hate that term, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're just a dude. They just
Mm-hmm.
don't believe, but that's the term I guess I was taught. But they don't want that typical Christian answer.
Mm-hmm.
Like the cliches, right? Like the Lord gives and the Lord takes away. God doesn't put anything before you that doesn't pass through his hands. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like
Yeah.
who wants to hear that even as a Christian, right? So they don't like that stuff. So I think I hear what you're saying, my friend, and it doesn't offend me that he said it
Mm-hmm.
in that way, even. So
Mm-hmm.
he says, I mean no disrespect, but I just don't. Cool. He goes on, I do like that you don't have to be a Christian to listen. And thank you for saying that.
Mm-hmm.
I almost wonder
I
if
know
most
it's a
people
great.
who listen aren't Christian.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we'll do more
Well, we're getting a
research
mixture
on
of
that
both.
too. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. We'll take them all.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So he continues, I know that I should believe in something, but I don't. Maybe because if there is a God, he's probably going to send me to hell. And I'm going to pause there. I'm not going to respond right now to that. But I do have to kind of warn you, my friend. Like, I'm going to give you my perspective on that. It'll sound a little religious, but I hope you hear what I said at the beginning of this podcast, that that's not my intent,
Mm-hmm.
because I think what you're going to find is what I'm going to tell you is probably contrary to what religious people would tell you,
Mm-hmm.
because that's my only answer to that part. But I'm going to keep going here for a second
Okay.
because I want to get to his story. He says, you see, about 3 years ago, my wife and I went out with some friends. We were having a great time. I was actually the designated driver. We stayed out way too late. I put my wife in the car because she was too drunk to walk. Then I headed home. I hate to even say it out loud, but the truth is the truth. I fell asleep at the wheel and we crashed. Man, this hurts.
Mm-hmm.
My wife died. Because I couldn't keep my ass awake for 10 minutes, my wife is dead. She probably didn't even know what happened. She was drunk and passed out 1 minute and dead the next. My gosh, Melissa, that is heavy.
Right.
That is heavy. He says, as you can imagine, everyone thought I was drunk. The cops tried to get me for DUI. I passed all the tests on the road and at the station. I even took a blood test and passed. There was nothing in my system. It took a couple of days to prove that I wasn't intoxicated. Her family still doesn't believe me. They hate me. Most of our friends have pulled away from me. Even the friends we were out with don't talk to me anymore. And that's terrible. They were all together. Like, he was the designated driver, and I'm not trying to rescue him, but like, that's painful.
Yeah,
I can hear the
exactly.
pain of that.
Mm-hmm.
He says, only my brother has been there for me. Everyone else has pulled away like I fucking did it on purpose. Fuck them. And that's his words. Don't they realize that I hate myself more than they ever could?
Imagine, yes.
This is not, there is not a day that goes by that I don't think about it. I don't ever go out, don't really have friends, and have no interest in dating. I just live alone and hate myself. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to hear what you have to say, because I honestly don't know how I could ever not feel like this. How can I ever forgive myself? Please don't give me some bullshit Christian answer. I need something that will get me out of this nightmare. Sorry if I sound angry. I guess I am. I just don't know why everyone walked away when I needed them the most. Ah, that is the most real letter we've had so far. Not that all of them haven't been real, but that is raw.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've read it 4 times. I tear up every time.
I know. I did too.
the pain in that letter
and just the
is
isolation
immense.
that he's putting himself through. So I'm going to let you take this one, but I think because we received the email and then we talked about it for a few minutes and then we had other things to do. And so we're just now getting to it today. But I think what I want to say is that we're going to pray for him. I just want him to find another wife, to find and to have a family. It sounds like they didn't have any children.
Yeah, not that I
So
can
they probably
see.
sound very young.
Mhm.
And just, find somewhere to forgive yourself and to just to be able to move on and enjoy life the way that should be. I think he deserves to have another spouse and deserve to have children. And the people that have abandoned you, just let them go. They don't need to be in your life. And like, what does your brother think? Like, I'm sure your brother, 3 years, I don't think there's a time frame on getting over anything like that. But I think that's enough time to kind of, he didn't jump into another relationship, right away, because that could cause more damage.
For sure. Yeah.
That he's not over the whole incident or the accident.
Mhm.
That's my 2 cents.
No,
I
and
mean,
I
I just
think
want to hug him.
I know, no kidding. No kidding. I wish I knew him
Mhm.
in a personal way.
Mhm.
Because I would just go kick it with him.
Mhm.
Sometimes there's no words you can say. Sometimes it's
You
just
just mhm.
just being there with somebody. I've had some of the most profound moments in my life as a minister where I just go and sit with people.
Mhm.
Like like I'm not going to say a word. This person just needs a
Mhm.
body next to them so they
Mhm.
don't feel alone. And then I've also been the person who has sat with somebody who
Mhm.
didn't try to just beat me over the head with, you sinned, right? You
Mhm.
had this coming, right? That
Ugh,
type of thing. This
yeah.
situation is different because this is a true accident.
Mhm.
And I mean, I don't know the story. I don't even know details enough to look it up, and I wouldn't anyway because he gave me enough details. The
Mhm.
cops tried to get him for
Mhm.
days, waiting for his
Mhm.
blood work to come back, and there's nothing in your system. I fell asleep. It is an accident.
And that happens a lot. I mean, it's
And so that's painful.
mhm.
Um, but I think if I'm reading this or if I'm putting myself in his shoes, why did people walk away?
Right. Yeah. Like
Like, what the heck is that about? It's like it's like I kind of think these things kind of get momentum. So like if cousin so and so said, well, the cops thought he was drunk, and then cousin so and so heard that statement, and now they said, well, he was drunk, and then pretty soon the whole family
mhm.
that has this belief system that he was drunk, and so it doesn't matter if the cops come and say no, he
Mhm.
wasn't. They were like, oh, he must have got
Mhm.
away with it or whatever. Like people don't want to change what they believe
Mhm.
once there's emotion involved,
Mhm.
and so
And I'm sure her family is hurt and devastated and upset, but they were married. They have relationships with the in-laws.
I could see if they like thought he was drunk, and then when the results came back, they were like, "Oh my God, we're sorry, we judged you."
Mhm.
Um, but you know, there's
Maybe it's time
dynamics
for
we
him
don't
just to
know.
just to get away from them. Like,
And probably he doesn't have a choice. They've
well,
probably
yeah,
done that.
none that. Mhm.
But let me kind of give you a couple angles here, my friend. Um,
Mhm.
I used a phrase called belief system. So you said you don't want me to just hit you with Christian stuff. I have to address the one part of this that will go down that route, but let me give you maybe some practical stuff. Okay.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna be a therapist today. Um, and remember at the beginning of this podcast, I played a disclaimer that said we are not giving you therapy and this is just meant to be Christian advice, but I'm going to speak from my therapy background.
Mhm.
If you need a therapist, go get one. I'm not your therapist. This is not a therapy session. I have to
Mhm.
say that for legality, but also just for you to understand where I'm coming from. So I'm
Mhm.
going to be maybe let's say I'm being a psychology professor for a minute.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try to use a little humor here so the audience can really grasp what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What happens to us psychologically is we get into these modes where we don't realize how strong our belief systems are. And
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of you said, well, what the heck is a belief system? You think you know what it is, but you don't.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one belief that's out there that's just floating around in your life. That's not a belief system. A belief system is when a bunch of beliefs get together and make a whole kind of powerful force.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you the funny example, right? I used to teach this to college kids, to psychology 101 college kids. I would tell them, how many of you believe in Santa? And nobody would raise their hand except for one clown, and I'd say, well, you're the only one that's true. You believe in Santa, but you don't believe in him the same way you did when you were a kid. So you actually had this belief system. We've talked about this before. It's kind of funny, where you actually believed that this fat guy in a red suit, this fairy that hovers over your bed and takes your teeth,
Teeth.
and this bunny all get together and leave you shit. And
Mm-hmm.
you're not even afraid that they broke into your house. That should terrify a child, right? A child should be terrified,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not, because the belief system that if I'm good, I get stuff from these mythical creatures
Mm-hmm.
is stronger than your fear of strangers coming into your house.
Mm-hmm.
And then some asshole about 9 years old on the playground says, there's no Santa, right?
Mm-hmm.
And ruins your day, ruins your life, really,
Mm-hmm.
because now you're too old to believe in Santa, is the phrase. And I sure hope there's no kids listening to this. And you better not be letting your kids listen to this. But anyway, so what happened is those beliefs that were all together into a belief system of these three mythical creatures. So it was Santa, Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy. If I'm good, I get presents. All those beliefs are in one thing. Now,
Mm-hmm.
that 9-year-old kid on the playground broke those up, right? And so, but the belief in Santa didn't go away. The
Mm-hmm.
belief in the Tooth Fairy didn't go away. So then what happens is you have a kid and you want your kid to have a good life. So you start putting things in that belief system, my kid
Mm-hmm.
having a good life. So guess what you do with Santa? You add it back to that. You add the
Mm-hmm.
Tooth Fairy. Now you're perpetuating this lie that was told to you. How cruel, right? It almost doesn't make sense when you think about it like this. And I want you to hear me. I know we're using a little humor, my friend who wrote this email, but that's how strong a belief system is. Let's get a little more serious now. A belief system, for example, of I'm a Democrat,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can add all the things that they believe. And then I'm on the other side. This person has a belief system that I'm a Republican. And when I was young, we didn't even know who was Democrat or Republican. But now this stuff starts like street fights.
Mm-hmm. Oh
So you can
yeah.
see how powerful a belief system is.
Mm-hmm.
Take a little deeper. Belief system in God.
Mm-hmm.
There's some people that believe that their God is a God named Allah, and he was actually the true God, and that these other people altered scriptures, and that this prophet Muhammad had to get the real true revelation and write
Mm-hmm.
it down and create this whole religion.
Mm-hmm.
And then those people believed strongly in their belief systems because it included the writings of the Quran and parts of the Bible and culture and that type of thing. And then these other Christian people on the other side of the world believed in something different. And pretty soon there's something called the Crusades, where
Mm-hmm.
they were going to civilizations trying to conquer them in the name of Allah or in the name of Jesus. And
Mm-hmm.
people were made to assimilate or be killed. It got crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's how powerful a belief system. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what the heck does this have to do with this letter? A lot of times, people's belief system is so powerful, like I said, that they won't believe the truth, even if a cop threw the blood test on the table and said, He was not intoxicated. This is
Mhm.
an accident. We're not going to charge him. This is the meaning of an accident.
Mhm.
I'll give you something crazy, Melissa. This is something that like sometimes is more theological than people believe. You'll ask people, did Jesus ever make a mistake? And Christians will go, well, no. And I'll be like, are you out of your freaking mind?
Mhm.
They were like, well, he was Jesus. He was perfect. No, you're wrong. Jesus didn't sin. That didn't mean he didn't make a mistake.
Mhm.
There's a difference between a mistake and a sin,
That's good.
right? Jesus was a
Yeah.
carpenter, right? He was a carpenter's son. You don't think Jesus ever cut a board wrong? Now, he probably didn't say the F word like I do when I cut a
Right.
board wrong, but he made
Mhm.
mistakes. That's
Yeah,
how
that makes
people learn.
sense.
That's how they grow and
Grow.
become
Mhm.
adults. We believe that mistakes are sins. And when we do that, so even if a Christian believes that, imagine
Oh
people
my
that don't.
gosh, yeah.
So this
Uh-uh.
guy made a mistake by being
Mhm.
too tired. Should they have called an Uber? But there was nothing malicious in his behavior.
Mhm.
But when people's belief system is like, I love my child and anybody that hurts her is my enemy, they don't
Yeah.
see a mistake. They see it as a sin.
Mhm.
And they might call it a different name than a sin,
Mhm.
but that's how they see it. So that's what this belief system is doing. It is causing these people to not see what is right in front of them.
Mhm.
It's as if they've never made a mistake, right? The Bible will say, he who goes without sin cast the first stone. But maybe if you take that just a little simpler, he who has never made a mistake, you
Mm.
know,
Yeah.
cast the first stone.
Mhm.
Because even if this guy had a DUI, he didn't do it on purpose.
Purpose.
Now, you might be able to call that a sin or a crime, but he didn't wake up and say, I'm going to go get drunk and put my wife in the car and end her life.
They were just out with
They were out
friends,
with friends,
having a good
but he
time.
wasn't drunk. He
Right.
wasn't
He
intoxicated.
was being responsible
He
because
was
that's what
actually
they
the
do.
responsible party. So
Mhm.
I'm saying all that, my friend, to say, like, you are fighting people's belief systems.
Mhm.
And sometimes belief systems are so powerful, my friend, that it would take literally a nuclear bomb to break them apart. Now,
Yeah.
to use my humor, that little 9-year-old asshole on the playground that ruined your Santa fantasy,
Mhm.
that didn't take much,
Mhm.
because it was easy for you to have this kind of sixth sense type of moment when
Right.
everything makes sense. Wait a minute, my dad was putting that bike together and said that Santa gave me the bike, but he had to wait a minute. My dad was Santa. I caught him hiding the gifts. And that one
And
time I
hide.
found gifts in the garage behind those boxes, like, and then it all comes into play.
Mhm.
These belief systems are harder when you have things like love
Mhm.
and resentment and unforgiveness and these types of things that are fueling a belief system, or the belief system is fueling those emotions, and it
Mhm.
kind of becomes a cycle. You can't talk people out of the truth. And
Mhm.
and let me say
Yeah.
another phrase that should stick in your mind. People don't want to believe the truth when they'd rather believe the lie.
Mhm.
The truth is ineffective when you'd rather believe the lie. So their
That is
pain
so
of losing
true.
their daughter
Mhm.
is more powerful than the truth.
Mhm.
I would say that there's an
Yeah.
arrogance to their betrayal, her parents or her family, because you loved her more than they did.
Mhm.
When you marry somebody, the Bible says that, like, you're supposed to get married, leave your mother and father and go
Mhm.
start your own life. But some families are so enmeshed that, like, they still love their daddy more than they love their
The husband.
husband, or they
Oh
still
yeah.
love their children more than, instead of turning her over to you for you guys to love each other and start your own life. So we don't know
Mhm.
if any of that's involved, but they don't want to believe the truth. They'd rather
Mhm.
believe the lie, because that their pain is fueled in there.
Mhm.
Those people will eventually have to grieve. And when their grief comes to conclusion and they really want to be released from that grief,
Mhm.
they're going to have to face the truth of their behavior, of the revelation that this was a
Oh
true
yeah.
accident.
Mhm.
Like, let's make this
Mhm.
real. If a
Yeah.
stranger would have crashed into the car and killed her, but it was an accident, you know, they would say, well, that guy was irresponsible and he fell asleep or whatever. So they're trying to put the same thing on him, but they're not seeing that he was responsible. He carried her to the car. He let her have fun. He was trying to
Mm-hmm.
do the right thing. If he's responsible for anything, it wasn't that, hey, I'm getting tired. We're going to have to leave now,
Mm-hmm.
or we're going to call an Uber. But all of that is accidental. So what you're fighting, my friend, is a belief system that these people have.
Yeah.
They believe that you were somehow this malicious person. Melissa said it earlier. You might have to let all that go, those people go, because there's a lot of times where changing a belief system is virtually impossible.
Mm-hmm.
People will
Oh
go to
yeah.
the grave
Oh
believing
God.
something that
Oh
has
yeah.
been proven untrue, um, and not even blink.
Like, I'm gonna throw this out there, like, or you may can take this out, but like my mom, like in one of the episodes about the DNA testing, like one of my brothers, she wanted it to be another man's child so bad that the DNA test with the paper, she's looking at it, she's still saying that the DNA is wrong, that
Yeah.
this person is this person's father. And you're like, lady, come on.
Yeah.
It's in black and white, but she still it. But
And not only did the DNA say this, but it pointed to the person that it absolutely could have been. Like, yeah, denial is a crazy thing. It's a
mm-hmm,
powerful force,
mm-hmm,
right? And uh, so I'm gonna
yeah,
say that you're right on the money there. That's a good example. And so there's a psychology part of this that I'm trying to give you here. So take that, we're not in the Christian part yet, my
mm-hmm,
friend. So as you're listening, that's what you're fighting. You cannot win that battle.
mm-mm,
Those people have to have a, I would call a revelation moment.
mm-hmm,
Something is going to have to happen for them to be shocked to where their belief system rattles apart. And then
mm-hmm,
the individual beliefs can get put into a new belief system called forgiveness
mm-hmm,
or called truth or whatever belief
mm-hmm,
system it would fall into. But right now, they're stuck. Those
mm-hmm,
people are stuck. So the answer is, why did they walk away? It's a psychological factor. I
mm-hmm.
don't know if that brings you relief, but maybe it'll give you a different way to frame it so you stop trying to make sense of it because
Yeah,
you can't.
because you can't. Yeah, I agree.
Um, I'll give you a crazy example of how powerful beliefs can be and how powerful the mind could be, my friend.
Mm-hmm,
There's actually a disorder where people believe that they don't have a left arm, and it's right there. There's blood flowing through it.
mm-hmm,
There it is, like right there. They were like, my left arm got cut off. And doctors will poke it with needles and inject pain and it won't move. They won't flinch. They don't feel it. That's how powerful the human mind is.
mm-hmm,
So how much more powerful when you get emotions involved?
mm-hmm,
Now let me get a little deeper into the psychology. Human behavior can be framed in a million ways, but I'm going to give you like a simple concept. It's called cognitive behavioral thinking, right?
mm-hmm,
So what it says is there's an event. It's like a trigger. And this trigger, the first thing that happens when a trigger happens or something kind of grabs your attention is you have an automatic thought. And then that thought starts spinning different thoughts.
mm-hmm,
Once those thoughts kind of get to going, then it'll create emotions.
mm-hmm,
And emotions and thoughts start spinning around in a little cycle.
mm-hmm,
And then they will decide on a behavior on how you're going to handle that trigger.
mm-hmm,
And from that behavior, you're going to have positive and negative outcomes because did you choose the right decision or the wrong decision based
mm-hmm,
off of how your thoughts and feelings
mm-hmm,
decided on how you were going to handle this. Now, logic would say that if you have a positive outcome from that decision, that behavior, then the next time that trigger comes, you'll do that.
mm-hmm.
Logic would also say that if you choose a behavior that got a negative outcome, the next time that trigger pops up, you're not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what logic says, right?
Right.
But watch this. Let's say I get a DUI.
Mm-hmm,
So behavior, thought, like an event. Let's go to a party. Thoughts.
mm-hmm,
It's going to be a good time. Let me grab my keys. I'll be right there. Feelings, excitement, fun, decision. You decide to go to the party and drink.
Mm-hmm.
Negative outcome, you got a DUI.
Mm-hmm.
Positive outcome, you had fun. Well, the DUI probably outweighed the fun, right? So logic would say you'd never get another one.
Mm-hmm.
But then 2 years later, you get another DUI from the same exact event. What happened that the negative outcome continues to make you do the same stupid behavior that got you in trouble in the first place? Because those thoughts and feelings are driven by that belief system.
Mm-hmm.
And if the belief system says, well, you didn't get a DUI because you were drunk, you got a belief system, or you got a DUI because the belief system tells you that the cops were just out trying to meet their quota. Right?
Right.
You see how powerful a belief system
Yeah.
is?
Yeah.
I hope you're hearing me, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Stop fighting these people. All you can do is say, I'm sorry I fell asleep. I'm here if you ever need to talk, and move on. You got your brother. I know that's lonely, but the alternative is you're beating your head against the wall that they built that is stronger than your head will ever be.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's talk about you.
Mm-hmm.
Because your belief system of yourself is also something that needs to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
You said in here something to the effect of, you hate yourself more than they do. Right? And that's understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, if a decision I made, intentional or unintentional, caused Melissa to be harmed, let alone killed, I'm speaking here like I would, like, here's what you're supposed to do, but I'd be feeling the exact same way you are, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't let our belief system tell us to hate ourselves, because just like you're trying to convince them that you didn't do it on purpose, I would focus more of my time telling yourself that you didn't do it on purpose. And that might be a harder battle than to trying to win them over, to be honest. But at least this is one where you're in charge of the belief system that's driving this belief that you're unlovable. Because if you can grab your own brain and rattle it apart, then you could start to forgive yourself. Now, how does that work? Well, it works like this. Like, you go back to the thoughts. So every time if the event is, I'm remembering what happened to my wife, your automatic thought is, I can't believe, no, you got to change that automatic thought. Your automatic thought is, I miss my wife. If you could just change that, then you could remember the good times and you could properly grieve. You're always going to miss her. You're always going to love her. But if your automatic thought starts you on the path of hating yourself, the rest of your thoughts and feelings are going to just do what they do. You have to change that. And that will start to break apart what you believe of yourself. You're a good person. I mean, nobody's perfect. I don't know you. You could be a serial killer besides this story, but I don't think so. But in this circumstance, you were doing the right thing. You were a good person. You were taking care of your wife. You were taking her out to have fun. You were doing all of those things. But the truth is, you miss her. And notice how spiritually, I'm not talking religious, but spiritually, you're not grieving. They're not grieving. There's just hate.
Yeah.
Hate towards yourself. They have hate towards you. There's no grieving there. That's a path to destruction. To me, that's a spiritual problem. I'm not saying religion. You don't have to believe in that, but that, like, the spiritual in terms of our innate selves, there's like a force behind this that's trying to prevent you from grieving, because on the outside of grieving, or I should say on the other side of grieving, is what we call redemption and restoration. What is redemption? That you are cleared of any wrongdoing. You've already received that from the cops. So just receive that internally. It was an accident. Accidents happen. But the restoration part is what Melissa's saying. She hopes you find another wife and could move on with your life. You don't have to forget your
still
wife.
love her and
Yeah.
have those great memories.
But you're isolating and all of those
Yeah,
things
that's not
because
good.
that's where I can tell you're not grieving, because grieving is a healing process. Isolation is a destructive process.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hope you're hearing me, my friend. It's not that these things aren't common. This is psychology all day long. It doesn't solve your problem, but what it's doing is giving you a way to frame it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
And I'm somebody who made a decision that caused so many people so much pain. And I almost learned to, like, the hate I got from people and stuff. It was almost like, for me, it was almost fuel to be a better person. Once I was able to kind of work through the mud of
Take a
it
deep breath
and just go like, these people are never going to forgive me. They don't even know the real story. They don't know my side of the story. They have a right to hate me as a minister. I should have known better, blah, 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 blah. So that was the easy part. The hard part for me was like, because every day I'd be, for years, like, or at least, a couple times a week, like, I can't freaking believe I did that. Like, what the heck was I thinking, But the redemption and restoration came when I realized that God has forgiven me, and that's not your belief system, but that's what helped me. But then it's like, once I got that and I kind of paid the piper and those types of things, my redemption sitting across the table from me. I have this
Yay.
beautiful wife. My kids are healthy. They all love me. My grandson is healthy. It's in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But I was able to grieve what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to let it go. Even though nobody died, it's still a grieving process. Because what was I grieving? I was grieving my old life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so grief isn't just a person, it's a season of your life that you're grieving. It's a whole chapter, but it's not the whole book.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's that. Now, we can go on and on and on for hours, but I'm going to address this part, and I'm going to kind of scroll back up here where it said something to the effect of, maybe because if there is a God, he is probably going to send me to hell. Now, you're a non-believer, you're a non-Christian. I don't know if you consider yourself atheist, agnostic. You don't even know what those mean. You don't care. I don't know what you believe. You did say something in here like, maybe you should believe in something. We all believe in something.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to give you what we believe. I'm not pushing it on you, my friend, but maybe it's something you've never considered when you consider, like, our side of the fence. What I mean by that is the Christian side of the fence, right? But let's take all the BS religion out of it, and let's give you the true, unadulterated, what's called the gospel, which means good news. And I've said this 100 times and I'll say it again. If you hear a preacher yelling and screaming and the message of Jesus doesn't sound like good news, they're not preaching you the right gospel. The gospel should be good news. Right. That is literally what it means. So therefore, if they're not giving you good news, then they're not teaching you the right thing. And unfortunately, a lot of people get that. They get the hellfire brimstone. You're a sinner. You should be like me because I'm perfect now that I have Jesus. And that's all bullshit. Here's what God says. None of you are worthy of heaven. None of you, religious or not, whether you grew up in a Christian home and memorized your first Bible passage at 3 years old and went to youth group and became a youth pastor, then a pastor, and you helped the poor. There is tons of stuff that people that look like that on the outside, they have on the inside a bunch of secrets, because none of us are perfect. The problem with religious people is they have to become fake, because they present themselves that they figured it out. And so they haven't. I mean, they might be a little bit better at it than the rest of us, but they haven't figured it all out. And so when they make a mistake, they have to hide it.
Yeah. Yep.
And so they become fake. And you see it, like, especially people that aren't, like, easily fooled. Like, that dude's full of shit. Right. I've met pastors. I've been at conferences and stuff, and you're just kicking it with cool pastors. They're real. And all of a sudden a guy will walk up and he's like polished and Is the Lord blessing you today, brothers? Like, get the heck out of here with that nonsense. How about just come over and say, hey guys, how you doing? I
Right.
hate that fake stuff. But anyway, you know, that type of fakeness comes when people don't remember that we're all imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
God's qualifications for who gets to heaven really never had anything to do with us.
Mm-hmm.
In the garden, he gave us perfection. We screwed it up, Adam and Eve, and people say, well, they did, I didn't. You would have done it too. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I would have done it too.
Yeah.
They were, the serpent was pretty slick in what he says, and he's still slick now
Mm-hmm.
in our belief system. He would have talked you into doing it, and if it wasn't with the fruit, it would have been something else.
Mm-hmm.
Because he knows how to get each and every one of us. Because he watches us. He watches how we. He doesn't read our mind, but he,
Oh
you
yeah. Mm-hmm.
you watch somebody enough, you know what makes them tick. So long story short, God had to create a sacrificial system. He had to
Mm-hmm.
say, you have to sacrifice a perfect animal because sin requires a blood sacrifice. When Cain killed his brother Abel, God said, his blood cried out to me from the ground. What did you do? Well, am I my brother's keeper? Well, no, but you're his murderer.
Mm-hmm.
So it required a sacrifice, an atonement. So God, that's what atonement means. So anytime you sin, the Bible says all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. And in the same book, it says, and the wages of sin is death. So anytime you sin, you should be killed. Your
Mm-hmm.
blood should be shed, regardless of what the sin is,
Mm-hmm.
because God only demands perfection. That's why people mistake him for being this cruel kind of jerk who just wants you to be perfect. No, religion wants you to be perfect. So God said these people can't be perfect, but I love them. So I'm going to make to where they sacrifice like a sheep, but it's got to be perfect. It can't have blemish, because you can't just give me any sacrifice in your place. It's got to
Right.
mean
Yeah.
something.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be. So you had to find a sheep that was literally perfect, and they would look at the sheep. They would look at every angle, make sure it didn't have a flaw in it. And then they would say that sacrifice was deemed acceptable. They'd sacrifice that for your family
Mm-hmm.
until the next time it was time to come to the temple and do it again. Well, sin continued to get so bad that God had to say, well, I'm going to send the ultimate sacrifice, because it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And they're getting farther and farther away from me.
Yeah.
But I love them. I love them so much. So he sent Jesus to die. And if you know anything about the Bible, this guy John the Baptist sees Jesus walking over the hill and says, behold the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. He knew, somehow he knew, like, that's the ultimate sacrifice. Like, he's the lamb that's going to once and for all. So they killed him on a cross for all of us. Now, here's the thing about religion, my friend. And if you've listened to the episodes, you've heard me talk about this. There's a thief on a cross. Him and his buddy are mocking Jesus as they're hanging on the crosses next to him. But something happens in this guy, and he says, hey, I kind of think I know who you are now. I don't deserve anything, but when you're in your kingdom, will you just remember me at least? Like, I'm not even asking you to go there. I don't deserve. I was mocking you 5 minutes ago. And Jesus says, today you will surely be with me in paradise. That's the first person that went to heaven, not to Abraham's bosom, which was a different place that dead people went, to heaven, to the paradise that God was creating for us. That was the first person to go there. The first person was a thief hanging on a cross, making fun of Jesus, mocking him, never went to church, never paid a tithe, never read a Bible, never went to Sunday school, never gave, soup kitchen food to the homeless.
Yeah.
All he did was say, will you just remember me? That's how we get to heaven. Can God send you to hell? Well, yeah, he has ultimate authority, but I don't see it like that. We send ourselves there. The opportunity is there in our belief system, my friend. If you want to explore others, let them tell you their story. Because you said in here, maybe you should believe in something. So maybe you'll hear me. Our belief system says that all you have to do is accept this free gift that was given to you. The religion stuff, I hope you never pick that up. But I hope you understand that when you accept Jesus, he will change you.
Oh, yeah.
People ask me all the time, well, I'm gay. Should I stop being gay before I meet Jesus? Just meet Jesus. If Jesus wants you to stop being gay, that's between you and him. Or
Mm-hmm.
people will say, well, I do drugs. Should I get clean before I meet Jesus? Just meet Jesus. If he wants you to get clean, he'll help you get clean.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Like,
yeah.
and religion will
Yeah.
say, don't you dare come in this church if you're a drug addict. You get yourself clean and then you come here and we'll introduce you to our God. You see how what religion does?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
but you got to be careful when you accept as Jesus, because things will start to fall off you,
Mm-hmm.
including the hatred of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because you'll
You
start to
sure
see,
will.
I'm
I can
forgiven.
testify to that.
For sure. You'll see, I'm forgiven by the King of Kings
Mm-hmm.
and the Lord of Lords. I'm forgiven by the guy that makes the call. So if I'm forgiven there, why am I beating myself up?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll even give you a little sneak peek. If all those people that are hating you and still watching you walk around the town, if all of a sudden they see you with the Bible in your hand going to church, that'll piss them off. But eventually they're going to see, what the heck happened to this guy?
Mm-hmm.
And indirectly you might find that they changed their mind, because
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing shocking to people like the person that they love to hate
Mm-hmm.
being farther along in the journey
Yep.
than
Because
they are.
their hatred is holding him
Yeah.
like captive. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
At least in their
it's
mind.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And when you break that, then
Mm-hmm.
their hatred for you has to be reevaluated anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then, some people will get even angrier at you, but that's between them and
Yeah, let them have that anger.
that's their
Let them,
spiritual battle.
yep.
Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, my friend, I hope that kind of answers some of your questions, and hopefully, to use your words, I didn't give you the Christian bullshit. I'm
That was
glad.
good.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you're angry. Because it shows me you're a real guy.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
You'll hear me say this a lot, but I'd rather kick it with real people than religious people any day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And that, they use phrases like, well, remember, Jesus hung around sinners, but he didn't become a sinner. And I'm like, I'm already a sinner, first of all. I'm doing my best every day. I try to get a little better. But
Mm-hmm.
Jesus also didn't just go to church and hang out with church people, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So watch your mouth when you say stupid things like that, because you don't realize how stupid you sound.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus went to the places. Jesus literally went out of his way, traveled miles out of the way to meet a loose woman at a well,
Mm-hmm.
or to meet a demoniac in a graveyard
Mm-hmm.
that everybody had chained because he was so off the chain. No pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus went to hang out with tax collectors and sinners, prostitutes. Yes, he didn't become a sinner, but you don't even go to those places.
Mm-hmm.
So watch your mouth. I would rather hang around with a real guy like this and just kick it with him. We don't need to talk about Jesus every 5 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
I'd rather
'Cause we
just hang
don't.
out with you
Yeah.
and talk. And then
Mhm.
when God prompts you,
Mhm.
if he does, hey,
Yeah,
there might be some
exactly.
questions about Christianity you have. You'll be like, well, I know a guy,
Mhm.
instead of let me go find a
Just don't
guy.
be afraid of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just embrace it.
And
It's
so,
great.
that's our belief.
Yeah,
I'm not pushing it on you, my friend. That's
Mhm.
what the Christian message is. But a lot of other religions, if I could be honest, they'll tell you, if you don't behave this way, this way, this way, and this way, you're not going to get there.
Mhm.
And that's a way to get somebody to give up real quick.
Mhm.
Because I don't know about you, my friend, but I
Yeah.
could try to be perfect today. I will probably make it until I brush my teeth. And I get out of bed and brush my teeth first thing. Like, I can't. I literally pray every morning, God, please take my thoughts before my sin does, because that's how far off I can go off path. So hopefully that helps. Would you add anything to that, Melissa? You said for me to take it,
I
so
think
I
you
took the
covered.
wheel.
Yeah. Well, I knew you would be able to answer this one like the way that you did.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I hope that maybe the
From a
psychology
guy to
helps a little
guy.
bit,
Yeah.
because, I know we've gotten some correspondence of, like, people start asking me therapy questions, and I have to be real delicate,
Mhm.
because what'll happen is somebody will try to say, well, he was a therapist and he gave me advice. I let my license lapse. I don't carry my license anymore. I don't work in a church right now. You're ordained forever. I mean,
Mhm.
your ordination doesn't expire like your therapy license, but that's not what we're trying to do here anyway. If I wanted to be a therapist, I'd just open up an office and try to counsel people again. I'm
Mhm.
over that part of my life. I just want to help people in the mud, and that's what we're doing.
Mhm.
So we will continue to pray for you. We will
Mhm.
continue to keep you in our thoughts. Reach out to us anytime. I
Mhm.
know I reached out to you and you didn't respond. I did tell you that I was going to put you on the air this week,
Mhm.
so hopefully you're listening. And if that inspired any more thought,
Mhm.
whatever, if not, just check in with us, man.
Mhm.
We're here for you. Remember, this program is written, produced, and hosted by us, Anthony and Melissa Corelli. This program is copyright The Struggle, LLC. Shout out to Todd Kazinka with Todd K Voiceovers. If you do have a story of your own, reach out to us at gracefortheunlovable@gmail.com. Start a correspondence with us. We'll decide if you want to just write a letter, if you want to do an interview, if you just want to send an email like this guy,
Mhm.
we'll take it all. We're just here to help. If you have questions about our organization in general, the other podcast, whatever, you could always visit our website, thestruggleseries.com.
Mhm.
Remember, healing comes when secrets are shared in
The
safe
safe spaces.
spaces. So may God bless you and bring you peace.
Good night.
Thanks for tuning in to the Grace for the Unlovable podcast. Please like, subscribe, and tell a friend. We will see you next time.